And
It's
it's arson.
sending data.
Okay. It's arson, right? I just want to make
Yeah,
sure.
like
Okay,
people who start
perfect.
fires for fun.
It's you're live.
Wonderful. Okay, you teachers' pets, it's time to share and invite and ask your friends to come visit because you know what? We're going to learn something different and new in the classroom today. So I'm going to turn on the recording so that we can upload onto BitChute. And I'm like my mouth is like doing about things. I don't know what it is, Cass. My mouth is doing the about. So BitChute, not a. So here we are. We're going to start the recording for YouTube. And no, BitChute. Here we go. Okay, everybody. Make sure that if you have any questions, because you are on Facebook Live, we are on YouTube as well. So when you ask your questions, make sure that you type in a Q. That way we know that you have a question and it's not just a comment that you are stating. So today we're going to be talking to Cassandra Aarsen. She is mega popular on YouTube and in all the social medias as well about organization. So if you're feeling like everything is a mess in your home, join the club and fasten your seatbelt because we're going to learn and grow together. Cass, it's time to dance. Here we go.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, because you guys heard that Cass is in the show, in the classroom, she's our teacher today, then please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends on Facebook and YouTube, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, today, if you think about it in the classroom, we have talked about health, how to take care of ourselves during this coronavirus quarantine. We've talked about emotions, how to improve our immune system. We've talked to so many different people that have made us aware of the different things that are happening in the world. But now it's time to kind of look inward, and now it's time to look within our home itself. And so I don't know if you're feeling this way, but it's time. Instead of cleaning out our, well, as well as cleaning out our body, we get to clean our home. We want our home to be pristine during this quarantine mess that we find ourselves in. And it's interesting when I learned about Cassandra Aarsen, who is huge. And you got to check her out if you go to ClutterBug.com and you can click on all her social media. She makes organization fun. And she lets us know that it's not that you're lazy or that you're messy or whatever that you call yourself, that voice in your head, but that you have a different style, that you have a different style in organization. So today we're going to talk about how to organize. So I've always said one size doesn't fit all. So today we get to find out what your organizational style is when it comes to your home and your lifestyle. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Cassandra Aarsen is here to do just that. Welcome to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show Classroom, Cass.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and just share.
Well, it is really thrilling to me because I have found myself, I'm really organized in certain things, and other things I just have little piles. And then once in a while I come in, I'm like the Tasmanian devil, and I come like cleaning through, and not everything gets put in the places. And so as I was researching you, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you've been following me. So let's talk a little bit about you and how you learned how to organize your life.
Yeah, about 12 years ago, I was drowning in clutter. I call myself a recovering super slob. I have 3 children. I was running a home daycare, and it looked like just Toys R Us had exploded. I was drowning in clutter, but I also was just feeling like a failure as a mom and as a housewife and as a business owner. And just, I guess, as an adult in general, I struggled to find things every day. I would lose my keys and my phone, and just every day felt harder than it had to be. And I didn't know why. Everyone else, it seemed to be so easy, but just adulting, being an adult was so hard for me. And that's when I discovered what I really was missing was organization. That's where the real struggle was all stemming from, just lack of organization in my home.
So they say that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Who was your teacher?
It was Peter Walsh. Peter Walsh is this amazing, I call him the king of organization. I was sitting on my sofa with babies and stuff and mess in my pajamas still, and I was flipping through the channel, and this show came on called Clean Sweep. It was on TLC, and he was the host, Peter Walsh. And what he said, just talking about streamlining your life, editing, letting go of the things you're not using and loving, and setting up organizing systems, it just resonated with me. It hit me like nothing I had ever felt before. And that was the day I started trying to organize. I bought every organizing book, every magazine. I tried to watch every show. I just wanted to learn so that I could improve my life.
Did you think it would become your career?
Oh my gosh, no. I absolutely did not think it was going to be a career at all. And honestly, it sort of turned into a career without me even realizing it. It's a very strange thing. It started with a passion to learn. And then after I was learning so much and seeing the impact, it turned into a passion to teach. So every time I learned something and it was so life-changing for me, I wanted to share it with other people. And my friends and family were sick of hearing me talking about, like, I organized my sock drawers using Kleenex boxes today. Or I'd call them, oh my gosh, I put my flour in containers and it's amazing. And finally, my husband bought me this little flip camera, and he said, why don't you just make a video and put it on YouTube?
Wow.
And that's how it started. My excitement to share with others. I just started posting on YouTube.
So before we started the classroom today, I said, okay, so how did you come up with these styles? Because the journey, I love the journey that you've experienced. It first started with you, and you thought everybody was like you. And that's why I always say, we've all learned things that supported us when we were little, but they don't support us as we get older, like the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. Well, that doesn't necessarily work. It worked when we were kids because we were the center of the universe. And so as you're learning how to grow in your organizational skills, you realize don't organize people the way you want to be organized. So share a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, so I mean, the way I saw organizing was this really detailed way. And my husband he would set up a filing system, and I was paying the bills, and he was like, when you pay a credit card, put it in credit card, put this in Visa and this in MasterCard, and put this in electricity. And I struggled with that. I struggled to do those detailed things. I could set it up, but on a daily basis, I was just like, I'll put it in a pile till later. I'll put it in a pile till later. And so I discovered that it's okay to macro organize, I call it. So traditional organization, like my husband with lots of details, is micro organization, but it's okay to have a basket called paid bills 2020. That's still organized.
Yeah.
And so that's the approach that I took. And I thought I was a genius. I started macro organizing my whole house. The bathroom, everything had these big macro categories in baskets. And it was amazing. And I started helping friends and family and then clients organize using this macro approach if they struggled with traditional micro. And so I thought that there was two ways to organize: a micro way and a macro way. And so you are either a detailed person or a big picture thinker. And if you knew that about yourself, you could design a system that really reflected and embraced your natural tendencies.
That's brilliant, but it went beyond that, right? Because now you've broken it into 4 categories. And by the way, for those, it's clutterbug.me. I think I said .com earlier,
It's
but
.com too. Yeah.
oh, is it
it's
.com too? Okay,
Mhm.
because it converts to ME. So clutterbug.com, you can take a test there, and it's free. And I took my test yesterday, but before I took the test, I tried to guess what I was. And before I ask that question or tell you what I am, I wonder, how are decorating and our organizational skills, have you made a coordinate? Have you kind of like said, okay, people who decorate this way, I can look at how they decorate and know they're a bee or a caterpillar, or not a caterpillar, a ladybug, or, so what is it that you've learned when it comes to styles of decoration as well?
Yeah, I've definitely noticed. So at first I thought there was two ways to organize: micro and macro, big picture and detailed. And then I met clients who I realized were visual organizers.
Mm.
And what that means is they crave visual abundance. They love lots of colors, they love to see all of their things. And then there are people who love visual simplicity like me. I would rather have things behind closed doors and have more muted, softer, less visual distraction. And so there really is 4 styles depending on whether you're micro or macro or visual or you prefer hidden. And you can tell in someone's decorating style the one aspect if they're visual or if they prefer visual simplicity. So someone who has their walls covered in artwork or collectibles, lots of colors, those people love visual abundance, and they should organize with visual abundance. And people who love more muted, more minimalistic looks, they should organize with a more hidden organization in mind.
Okay, so with that in mind, I took the test, but before I took the test, I thought I was a combination between a bee and a butterfly. So is that normal, or is that like completely opposite?
No, those are both visual organizers. So you
Yeah.
know right off the bat that you're visual. You love visual abundance. They're usually very creative. And if it's out of sight, it's out of mind for
Yeah.
visual organizers. But a bee is a really detailed, meticulous person. They prefer to have things put away in a really perfect way. And a butterfly is a more big picture thinker. They need fast and easy. And I think why you could get confused is I have a feeling you are a bee, but with a bee, if they can't do it perfect right away, they'll pile till later.
Mm.
So they'll pile and they'll pile and they'll pile. And it can look like a big cluttered mess, but it's just that their passion and drive to have it so detailed and perfect causes procrastination.
So let's talk about, okay, now you mentioned the style of the bee. So let's break it down into so the 4 styles is the bee, the butterfly, the ladybug, and the cricket. I think I'm married to a cricket.
Yes. So a cricket is like a classic organizer. They love things out of sight, behind closed doors, but they love details. They are definitely perfectionists. And again, they struggle the same as a bee does. They'll pile until they can do it perfectly later, but their ideal perfect is behind closed doors. So everything's away when they're done with it. They do have a bit of an exception that if they're not done with something yet, they want it out and easy to access, but otherwise behind closed doors. So that is a cricket: visual simplicity and micro organization. And then you have a ladybug. Ladybugs love hidden organization too. So everything behind closed doors, but they need fast, easy, simple macro solutions. So lots of bins and baskets where they can just toss their stuff away like a basketball, kind of in a messy, but in an organized basket sort of way. So I'm a ladybug, actually. I'm a macro organizer. You can see lots of big bins behind me where I toss things away. So ladybugs love visual simplicity with macro, fast, easy solutions. And then you have a bee like yourself. It's all about visual abundance. You're a visual organizer, but you prefer a detailed way with lots of categories so you know exactly where everything is. But that perfectionism can lead to piling and procrastination. And last, you have a butterfly who loves visual abundance, but they need fast, easy, simple solutions, so macro solutions. So they love visual abundance, but with macro solutions.
I tell you what, and it's still as I'm trying to fit in, I sometimes think I'm okay. I'm a little ladybug. No, I'm a cricket. No, I don't think I'm ever a cricket. I'm just, but there are so many different parts of my personality. Do you feel that parts of, like you had mentioned in one of the videos that I saw that you did, that children are all butterflies, that when they start off that's a great way, and share with people that have children, what's a great way to kind of encourage them to be organized without beating them into having to be organized?
Yeah, so almost all small children are butterflies, which means they're visual. You know this because they love to see all their toys and they pile everything up, but they need fast, easy macro solutions, which means if something is hard for a kid to put away, they just won't. Even drawers, dresser drawers, opening it up, putting the thing in, shutting the drawer. If it's a 3-step process, just kids are not going to do it, which is why it's so important that as parents, we realize how kids organize, how they think, and that we set up systems to complement that. So like a shelving unit behind me, so simple. If there was baskets with big picture labels on them or clear for different categories, so the kids could just toss their things away in a really fast, simple way, but it's still visual because kids feel anxiety about putting their favorite toys in toy boxes or in closets or behind closed doors because it's out of sight, out of mind, whether they realize it or not. So they need to be able to still see their things, but have them in a really big, easy macro way.
So getting rid of drawers and getting rid of, the traditional bedroom suite, the suit that we have. So you're saying be creative and almost enticing to them to be able to make it into whatever they want to do, and then put their clothing in there as well, not just putting it. So many things that I think that if I would have done differently, maybe my children would have been more happy about cleaning up. What about when you have a housekeeper? Should you still have your children clean up? Because you have your children, what is it, you or clean up every day? Your children clean up as part of their night routine. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a full-time housekeeper all day, that's amazing. That would be incredible. But even so, it's so important to teach your kids life skills. And as an adult, picking up after yourself is a life skill. And I think where a lot of us, even as adults, have failed to do that is because we're trying to sort of fit ourselves into one box. We're like, this is how you keep your house neat, do it this way. And if you failed over and over again, your assumption is, I suck at that. Why would I even bother? I'm not going to be able to keep it up. Why would I even bother? And so it's important when we have kids that we teach them the way that complements their natural style so that it isn't this chore as they become a grown-up. So every day, multiple times a day, we do a quick 5-minute tidy. 5 minutes. I'm not like a nagging mom. It's like, okay, quickly tidy up what you were playing with so we can go have dinner, or tidy up really quick before bed. And it never even takes the full 5 minutes because it's so easy, but it never becomes an overwhelming mess for them to tackle if we let it go an entire week. And that's important for adults to realize as well. I've had so many of my clients or people say, well, why would I tidy up if people aren't coming over? But you're doing it for you. And if
Yeah.
you do a little bit every day, it never becomes a huge mess that you are embarrassed or ashamed by.
Well, you gave a TED talk and you talked about that embarrassment. You talked about how there's that voice in your head saying you're a slob, you're lazy, you're messy. Do you still have that voice in your head, even though your house looks organized and you are creating this empire of organization and helping others and creating a battalion of people going, yes, we can do it too. That voice in our head, does it sometimes cripple us to keep us from doing what we would, to get out of that shame, to get out of that and actually create what you want like you did?
I mean, I had to really change the tone of lazy to me. Do I still think I'm a lazy person? Yes. Do I think that this is a bad thing? No. I'm really trying to realize that I'm just a macro big picture thinker. And for me, I realize you don't get bonus points in life for doing things the hard way. So I do look for shortcuts. I look for ways of working smarter, not harder.
Mhm.
And I think that that's really increased my creativity. So when I do sometimes feel like, oh, Cash, you're being lazy, I realize that that isn't a bad thing necessarily, that it really does allow me to come up with clever, creative ways to take shortcuts in life, but still get the same results.
Well, I would say I would change that word. I used to call myself a fluke. Like I was told when I was 7 years old that I would never amount to much. And that was by my teacher, my second grade teacher. And no matter what I did in life, no matter how successful I was, I thought I would never amount to much. It wasn't enough, that it wasn't, whatever the perception was, it was, oh, it was okay, it was no big deal, because I would never amount to much. And one day I had Radley Valentine was in the classroom, and he's I don't know if you're familiar with him, and I normally don't do classes like this, but he does the tarot cards, and he's with Doreen Virtue, and I had never heard of him either, but I was doing a Hay House event. And so I had mentioned that off the air that, I just thought that I would never amount to much. And I thought of myself as a fluke, that I would like just stumbled upon success or stumbled upon doing something okay. And he said to me, fluke, what a magical word. And that changed everything for me. Like, the word that I was using, never amount to much, thinking that I was a fluke, became magical. So did you turn lazy? It sounds like you've turned lazy into creative.
Yeah, I look at it no longer as a negative thing. My parents really pride themselves on really working hard all the time, and they spent so much of their free time doing yard work and housework and like polishing chandelier crystals. And I always thought that that's who I had to be like a real grown up or something. Like that's what it meant to have your life together. And I'm seeing just the other side. That's not necessarily true at all. And if you want to be that person, you are that person, that's amazing. But if you really cherish that relaxation time and that quiet time and that time with just spending with your family on the couch watching Netflix, that's okay too. And that doesn't mean that you're a failure and you're doing anything wrong. It just means you have to adapt and get creative so that you can still achieve the things you want to achieve without having to literally break your back doing it.
Perfect. So do you have tips that work across the board. It doesn't matter if you're a cricket or a bee, a butterfly, or a ladybug, that these work for everyone.
I do. Okay, first of
Okay.
all, I have to say that everybody always says to me when their house is full and they have no room, they're like, if I just got organized, I would have more space. That's a myth. Organizing does not create more space in your home. Decluttering does. The only thing organizing does is make things easier to find and easier to put away. Decluttering is what gives you more space. It gives you breathing room. And it's so important. And it's always the first step when you want to organize your home. You declutter first. And believe it or not, your clutter is not the stuff you're seeing. It's not the stuff on top of your kitchen counter. It's not the things on top of your dresser. That's the things you're using every day. That isn't clutter. I define clutter as things you're not using and things you're not loving. And those are in your closet, in your cabinets, and hidden away. So that's where you start. Open up a closet, open up a drawer, open one cabinet, and pull out anything you haven't used in the last year. If you haven't used it, it's got to go.
Okay, so I think that the bee personality thinks of the value of that thing that needs to go, just in case I have to use it again. Is that the bee?
It is totally the bee and the cricket. And the cricket, they both, I mean, you're logical, right? You're a logical, detailed brain. You overthink everything. You're a bit of a perfectionist. You're like, well, what if one day I might, it's
And I do that with clothing too, and it comes true.
Yeah, well, the one time you're like, I'm glad I kept this, does not justify the years of it filling up your closet and taking away from the space that you need and crave. And so it gets easier. That's what I have to say to you. It does get easier, but you have to sort of separate your fantasy self from your real self, especially bees. They have everything is good intentions. I could do this. I could make a quilt out of my old baby clothes. I could, do this amazing project with these things one day. And unfortunately, all of those are unkept promises to yourself that just continue to pile and pile and pile and pile. And then your home is full, not just with stuff, but disappointment in yourself everywhere you look. And so everything in your home should be purposeful. And it should be something that you love and use, not just for more space in your home, not just for what your home looks like, but for how you feel about yourself. Because if you're surrounded by, oh, I should do that one day. Oh, I need to do that. Oh, I could do that one day. You're not really living for the moment.
Okay. So with that in mind, that's going to be tough for me. And I remember downsizing, and my girlfriend came over. She was like a drill sergeant. She was a drill sergeant, and she has an accent from Trinidad. And she'd go, "Lily, do you really need this? This is so old." And like, okay, just get rid of it. She would just like get in my head, and that's how I was able to look. And then I looked in the front yard because we did a garage sale. It was the first garage sale. I usually give my things away, but it was the first garage sale that we've ever had. And I remember looking around the yard and seeing all those treasures that no longer supported me. And I thought, man, why did I spend that much money on all those things that, because, the kids, Easter, they had to have decorations for every holiday and all those things. And still, it was really difficult. So how do you encourage somebody like me or someone else that has a hard time letting go?
Yeah, everybody has a different reason why they struggle to let go. Everyone does. And I don't know you, but I'm hearing financial more than once. And so what that really comes down to for me would be either a struggle in the past financially or insecurity about perhaps wasting money in the past.
Yeah.
And so when you're letting things go, it feels like you're feeling that feeling of disappointment in yourself for spending the money in the first place.
Interesting.
And then if you hold on to it, you don't really have to feel that emotion of I shouldn't have wasted my money in the first place. But here's the truth. the money's been spent. Holding on to those decorations or those clothing is not making you any richer. You are not $20 richer for holding on to that thing. It's actually costing you, because it's costing you your space and it's costing you your self-esteem. So you forgive yourself for wasting the money and you let the item go, and you just tell yourself that you'll do better in the future, or you'll try to do better in the future.
I love it. I love it. I think that that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And you know, it happens where you realize, gosh, those are just things. And so, but my decorating style is such that I love that visual, like you talk about that visual. I love Christmas decorations and I love all those things. And yes, you do. That was a financial decision or a financial issue at that moment where I thought, man, that it's just, I couldn't believe how much my things were owning me. And so there was a liberation that occurred that, so switching that a little bit, then there's the background stuff. You put something there on a mad dash because you have friends coming over, or you're entertaining. And now all of a sudden you have all these little stacks that, and maybe in there became, there was a bill that was in there, or some important document that got pulled into, because now you're going to take all the messes. And I wrote an article called A Journey into My Messy Closet. And I always say that when I am out of control, out of balance, when my life is out of balance, if I walk into my closet, I can tell, because things are out of place. You know, I like to organize in color. And then, so when I look at I can't see the floor in my closet, that shows me the condition of my spirit. That shows me the condition where I'm out of balance. And when I clean that closet out, I feel really, really good. It completely changes and transforms how I feel. But here's the thing. It's sometimes I go through and I start taking things away that don't fit me anymore, and I put it in a pile. But it takes a while to get there. So what are some of the quick ways that we can look at a closet and say, ooh, we need to declutter? This is not about straightening up the closet. It's about decluttering the closet. How do we label things so that we know, okay, this has served its purpose, it's time to go?
Yeah, so I mean, what you're talking about is definitely an issue that bees and crickets have, because you are a perfectionist. And so it's like, it's all or nothing, right? It's all great or nothing. But something that everyone can do when they're looking in their closet is ask themselves, would I buy this again? Does this look great on me? Have I worn it in the last year? And if the answer to any of those questions is no, it has to go.
Oh man,
because you should only
tough.
have the things in your closet that you love and that make you look fabulous, but that you would buy again. And remember, getting rid of it isn't wasting money. Having it in your closet is wasting space.
Again, reframing. It's about reframing. And so I love that. Okay, so getting rid of it. Do you recommend that everything come out of the closet and start with a clean canvas and start putting back in? And how do you sort?
Right off the bat, I mean, you bees, you love to sort. And this is the problem, right? My gosh, let me just say, this is the biggest problem with bees and crickets micro-organizers. They take one big mess and they make 30 little messes, and then they're exhausted. Then they're tired. And then they're like, oh man, I got to take a break. You've really not accomplished anything. And then all of those little piles just end up as one big pile again. And it's the cycle of clutter. And so instead, what we're going to do, sorting is about macro sorting. So you're going to take everything out of the closet and you're just going to have keep, donate, done. Keep, donate. And in that keep pile, we're not sorting into pants and shirts and long sleeve. No. Keep, donate. That's it. And then when you've gone through it that way, you pick up something. Would I buy this again? Do I love it? Have I worn it? No. In the donate, in the donate, in the keep pile, in the donate. You're not taking the keep clothes and putting them back in the closet, because you're going to start wanting to organize it. No, it's keep, it's donate. And then after that, then you can go through and while putting them back away, you can be like, okay, the shirt's here, the pants here, the long sleeve here, the dress is here.
Okay. Okay. I have a really easy time with the pants here and the clothes here and the pant, it's easy for me. But then always that purpose, I think I got that from my mom, and I'm named after my mom. And so, and there's a correlation. They say that when people are named after people, there's a correlation between the personalities. My mom and dad just recently, we downsized them to go into an assisted living facility. And I walked into my mom's closet, and there were things in there that I remember as a child. And I had to make the decision, what do I keep for my mom and what do I let go for my mom? So I got to make that decision, and it was a lot easier to do with her. And maybe I should have my daughters come into my closet and say, I want this, I want that. But
I think it will be easier for you if you simplify the process. If you're simplifying it and you just take all that ideas of perfection and what it's going to look like and the perfect way to organize out of your head, and you just stick to the rules, which is, would I buy it again? Do I look great in this? And have I worn it in the past year?
And then you just let it go.
And then you just let it go.
Because I have some dresses that I used to wear that are very expensive for business. And I keep thinking, well, maybe I can adjust them. Maybe I could make them into something else. And oh my goodness, I'm just going to let it go. Okay, I'm going to do an intervention. I'm going to call my friend Judy over, and she's going to, like, in my face. I think I'm going to do that, because you're right. The clutter is what takes away. But my closet is organized, but it's just got a lot of stuff in there. Right now, because after when this weekend, it was so funny. I knew I was going to be having a conversation with you, and I thought, okay, I'm going to clean my kitchen closet. I'm going to, organize my office closet and my bedroom closet, and I felt really good. But now I have to say, I got to declutter.
Yes.
I got to get rid of these things.
Because it doesn't matter how organized you are. When you have too much stuff, you have to keep up that level of organization all the time. And that's not realistic. I mean, you have to be meticulous when your space is full, or else, I mean, it's just going to end up with piles on the floor. When you have breathing room for your stuff, when you're just having the things that make you feel like great about yourself, it's going to be easier to put it away, and faster and easier and faster to find the things you want. And that's really the secret of having it be tidy all the time.
I love it. I love it. And by the way, I haven't even mentioned this. Cassandra is giving away 2 books, and go ahead and show the book, because I don't have the book with me. And it's called Declutter Challenge. And I believe that I really deserve that book. So I am taking a book, and then she's giving 2 books away, because it is so important that we just simplify. And I want to do that. I really want to do it. And I was watching you through the videos, I'm going, oh my gosh, I see myself. It's like you were walking around with me, and there's that denial, as my head is coming out of the sand. So that's good. So for those of you who would like a copy, because I just finished doing organizing the last giveaway, so I'm going to make this simple for me. I need for you, if you want a copy of this book, I need for you to private message me or send me an email or a text. So the text is 407-373-5959. Text me that you want this book. And also, if for those of you who are listening on podcast, you can text me when you're listening to this. I'm going to wait a couple days before we do the giveaway. If you're watching on YouTube, don't write it on the chat, because I can't reply to you. So send me an email. If you're watching this later on, Lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. Lily, that's Lilly @whenyouneedafriend.com. If you're watching on Facebook, I am going to make this easy for you. Just I am me. Just let me know that you want a copy of this book, because it was so, I had to look everywhere, and I want to work smarter, not harder. So to quote Cassandra. And so one of the things that I'd like for you to do is reach out and make sure you are a subscriber at whenyouneedafriend.com. Whenyouneedafriend.com is where we stick together. Especially with censorship, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. This is where you stay connected with me, and all my social media is at whenyouneedafriend.com. And so click on social media, like and follow me on everything. That way you have a way to get a hold of me if you would like to continue viewing and being a student in the classroom, because we are all students, we're all teachers, and it is where we grow together. So please do that. And then another thing that I'd like for you to do is I want you to go to my sponsorship page. So with my sponsors, just keep in mind, without the people that take a stand for what we're doing and what we're about, it requires for us to say thank you. And so I want you to say thank you to them, either with your time, your talent, your treasure. Just like sponsors like Keep Me Safe Organics, all organic, all natural, it's body products for your entire body. You get 10% off. So you get all percentage off when you check out my sponsors and actually purchase from them. First Alternative Care, I'm just going to go real quick over them. NORI, which is Nutritional Oncology Research Institute. They're a new sponsor. I'm so excited about them. The Pharmacy in Merritt Island. Live Longer Medical, making you as beautiful on the inside as you feel on the outside. And of course, the affiliate sponsors like Ground Therapy, which I am grounding right now. My feet are on my mat, even though I am around electronics. It's helping me get all this stuff off my body, as well as Brain Tap, which allows you to change the program in your head. And so I'm definitely going to brain tap about organizational skills tonight. So those are my sponsors. Please support them the way they're supporting the classroom. And finally, you can become an enrolled student in the classroom, so you can donate no matter what it is, whether it's $1 a month or $20 or $200 a month, whatever you can donate, or your time, your talent, your treasure, again, help out in any way that we can grow the classroom. Today, we are talking to Cassandra Aarsen, and she has a website called ClutterBug.com or ClutterBug.me, whatever it is that you want to reach her. But she also has all her social media. Reach out to her on YouTube as well. Her YouTube channel has over 400,000 people that are watching. Pretty soon, she's going to be on television. You want to share, Cass?
Yeah, we're currently filming a television show right now, helping people declutter and organize based on their organizing style. And we're doing it all from home. So we're doing it through Skype, and we're recording ourselves. And these incredible families, in just a few days, are tackling mountains of clutter. They're decluttering, they're organizing, they're painting, they're decorating, and they're transforming their homes and their families all by themselves. So I'm so proud of this show. It's so real. You know, there's no scripts, there's no fake, there's no cameraman. It's just people in their homes, real families making real transformations.
And so how are they video themselves with a phone?
With phones and GoPros. We sent them a bunch of GoPros, so they have GoPros on the ceilings and all over the place. And then we're doing video chats through Skype, and I'm helping them declutter, walking them through the decluttering whole process with them, and then the organizing. I send them supplies that they need for organizing, and they're doing it themselves. And the transformations are like insanely beautiful, but more than that, it's functional. I think I cry almost every call. It's so emotional too, just to see how far people have come in a few short days. We're talking 20 years worth of paper and clutter and clothing gone in a few days.
And how do they feel? Share some stories that might motivate the people in the classroom, the students in the classroom, choose to do this for themselves.
It always starts out with emotion like, am I going to regret this? Am I going to, am I making the right decision? And it comes down to do they trust themselves? So that's my job, is just to say, you know the answer in your heart if you should keep this or not. I'm not here to tell you what to keep and what not. You know, you just have to let go of the fear and anxiety of making a mistake. And as soon as you let that go, or at least acknowledge that that's what's holding you back, it's sort of the answer comes out. And so once people start doing that and like, I don't need this, I'm just scared, but the truth is I don't really want it, and my mother gave me this and I'm holding on to it because I feel bad getting rid of it, but the truth is I'm not honoring it and I don't love it. And as soon as they start making those positive decisions, they start getting those positive rewards, and it becomes like this high when it comes to decluttering. And every single one of them have said how they feel lighter, they feel happier, they feel less stressed, and more than anything, they're so proud of themselves.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So how do we get started? How do we schedule a day that we're just going to declutter? This is D-Day, declutter day. So
Yeah,
how?
you're such a bee. You're like, give me exactly the plan. I want steps.
Oh man, I thought I wasn't a bee. I'm like, okay.
No, you're totally a bee. Yeah. So right off the bat, there is no perfect way to do this. There is no rules. There is no roadmap. There are only, guidelines that I can give you.
Okay,
And
that's
what
good.
I'd really
Guidelines.
suggest is that you start with one pile, one section, one drawer, one cabinet at a time, so you're not overwhelmed, and that you pull everything out. And then you just say to yourself, have I used this? Do I love it? Is this giving to me or is this taking? Does it make me feel good about myself or guilty or bad? And let the bad toxic clutter go in a pile and put the rest back. We're going to worry about organizing it later. We're not worried about making it perfect and the perfect organizing solution. It's keep or let go. That's all we're thinking.
So
And if
first
it's
is keep and let go.
it goes back in, we're going to go back and make it perfect later. And then you move on to another cabinet and another closet and another drawer until the entire space has been edited. You're not getting rid of, you're editing. And so many people who struggle with the thought of donating, I want you to change that word to gifting. Instead of you're donating the things you're not using, you're gifting them. And so fill gifting bags, clear bags, boxes, gifting boxes to share the things you're not using with others who could really use it, love it, and appreciate it.
That's great. That's great. And so what are some of the situations, the cases where you felt this is really bad? I don't think I'm going to be able to help. I'll be here and I'll be a support. I'll be a coach, but I don't think. And were they surprising or did they pretty much live up to your expectation?
Yeah, well, I just had a client actually recently that her real struggle was her fantasy self. And so she prides herself. Part of her identity is being a really fashionable person. She loves fashion and dressing really well. And that's a core of her identity is clothing. And so unfortunately, she lives in a very tiny New York apartment. And so fantasy her wanted this amazing walk-in closet with amazing wardrobe. Real life, you have to organize for the space you have today. She has the rest of her life to have this amazing, closet. So today she had to make hard decisions and realize that the clothing is not her identity.
Sure.
She is still an amazing fashionista. And I didn't think she could do it. But I just had to talk to her, and then she had to go away and let that digest in her mind and come to her own realization. And when I met back with her, she had like 6 boxes and bags filled with things she wasn't wearing. And so, I was so proud of her and impressed. And more than that, she was proud of herself.
I can imagine. What about hoarders? Have you ever helped a hoarder?
Yeah, hoarding is a little bit different in that that's a mental health issue. And so I always recommend talking to a mental health professional. With hoarders, what it really comes down to is cognitive behavioral therapy because it's extreme anxiety about letting something go. And so we start with garbage bag therapy. That's what it's called. It's when you take a garbage bag and you put actual garbage in it. So anyone who's struggling with letting go, this is a great exercise that they can go through is just look for old receipts, old bills, broken things, actual literal trash, and get rid of that. And the more you do that, the less your anxiety will be. It lessens it's called cognitive behavioral therapy. So repeating something over and over, pushing through the anxiety until it lessens, and then repeat, repeat, repeat. And that's how you help hoarders, and that's how you help people not become hoarders.
That's great. Okay, so with that in mind, let's because I think I've hoarded up the bee talk. Let's talk about the some simple things that we need to know as a bee, butterfly, a cricket, and a a ladybug. So, what are some of the real quick tips that we can?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so ladybugs need baskets, 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 baskets. Any macro organizers, so bees and butterflies need lots of baskets, but butterflies have to make sure they're labeling the baskets or that they're clear or they're wire so they can still see what's inside, but they need big categories to toss their things. Visual organizers like bees and butterflies have to take advantage of the vertical space. So they need bookcases, they need hooks, they need things that they can put their things up and still see them in a visual way.
Mm-hmm.
And bees and crickets need to really sort of embrace good enough. They need to let go of that idea of perfection a little bit and create themselves some I'm going to get to later baskets to pile into instead of creating lots of piles. Because that's a visual cue. Okay, when I need to file this basket is full, that's when I can go through and start actually doing the work.
Good, good. What about other aspects of other than baskets? Are there other things that are important for the decluttering?
I mean, just the sorting method with the decluttering to stop yourself from everybody declutters the same way, but to stop yourself from making lots of piles, I like to create big labels, one for toss, one for donate, one for keep, and one for does not belong. And what does not belong means is it just doesn't belong in this room. So it stops you from going from room to room to room. So you take a big pile and you're like, okay, is it keep? Do I let it go? Or does it not belong in here? And you just pile, pile, pile into those 4 categories. And that works for every organizing style.
Very good, very good. So once again, why don't you show the book, Cassandra? There we go. It's called Declutter, the Declutter Challenge. And I think I am going to accept the challenge. And as I was cleaning out my closets and cleaning out the pantry and all that, I thought, there are some things I can throw away here. But I didn't have time for it. So I was just buzzing around, didn't have time for it. So I'm going to create some time for myself because once I do it, it's great. And it's sustainable, but in like that analysis paralysis. And I never really thought of myself as a logical thinker. I'm very emotional. I've got both. And so I was surprised when I see something like that. Perfectionist? What?
Being a perfectionist doesn't mean you're perfect all the time.
No, I strive for excellence.
It means you're striving for that. You're looking at what's the best way to do this. So perfectionists tend to research all the time. They want to have the plan and they overthink, they overanalyze, and it just causes a lot of indecision and procrastination because of that fear of doing it wrong.
Well, I tell you what, there are certain things where I've learned that I cannot procrastinate. It's like, I've got to do this now because I know I could procrastinate, and I've been there and I don't want to do that anymore. So I've learned and taught myself. So this is another skill that we get to learn and teach ourselves. And I love the fact that you're out there proclaiming this and helping others from your own knowing, from your own experience. And that's very admirable. So I want to thank you, Cassandra, for this. And I want to encourage all of you to privately send me a message if you want to. If you write it down on the page, that's fine too, in the comment section on Facebook. But send me a private message or email me at lily@whenyounneedafriend.com, and or you can text me at 407-373-5959. Just let me know that you want the book and the challenge. You're accepting the challenge of decluttering. Declutter challenge of Cassandra Aarsen. What did you say? That you are a fire that's fun?
No, people always say, how do you pronounce your last name? Because it's spelled very oddly. And I just say like arson, like people who set fires for fun, like, yeah.
Got it.
I don't know how else to describe
That was kind of quick. So for, once again, her website is ClutterBug.com. Take the quiz. It was really eye-opening. I tried to do it myself and try to figure out what am I? And I was surprised. I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised because I wrote it down that I was a bee and a butterfly, but it turned out I was a bee. So I want to encourage all of you to take the challenge, sign up for her website so that you can get her newsletter. You send the newsletters as well, or blog?
I do every week with free organizing tips.
Very good. And your videos are phenomenal. I've seen other videos in the past and they cause me stress and anxiety for some reason, but yours was very entertaining and fun. So I know you're going to be very successful in everything that you're doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for those of you who are listening on podcast, please remember you can join us live in the classroom at whenyouneedafriend.com. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. And please make sure you get the book because we need to do this declutter challenge because I'm going to do it with you. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Cassandra Aarsen wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job. Good job.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, so I know that we have some questions here. So let me know if you have any questions for Cassandra. Any tips, anything that we didn't get to talk about today before we stop the podcast, or that you would like to share?
Yeah, I mean, something that I do recommend, we talked just briefly for families, is if kids are struggling to put their clothes in dressers, to consider losing the dressers and opting for a cube shelf like behind me instead.
Mhm.
And I know this is drastic, but taking the doors off of your closet, if you're a butterfly, really does motivate you to actually put your things away. And hangers often don't work for coats and backpacks, so opt for hooks instead if you have a visual organizer. If you're a visual organizer, I recommend wall hangings for your paper, so magazine racks right on the wall, so it isn't out of sight, out of mind, but it isn't taking up your counter or desk space.
I love those tips. Those are really good. I was really surprised about removing the door for a butterfly. And as you know, because I do have some butterfly tendencies, I was thinking that would stress me out because, I would want the mess to be hidden. And that's why I wrote that article about the journey into my messy closet, because I want people to understand that, sometimes when you're busy, those are some of the things that you can become aware of that are causing you to be out of balance. Because we can be busy, but still make time for ourselves and to love ourselves. And that to me is a way I love myself. When I go and I start cleaning and organizing, and it just feels so good. And
Mhm.
so when I find myself in that situation, I know I'm out of balance. And so taking out the door, what is the purpose of that? Just to see where you're going
Yeah,
to put things?
yeah, the purpose is visual organizers are really out of sight, out of mind. So some visual organizers, mostly butterflies, their closets will be only filled with things they hardly ever use, and their dressers draped with the clothes they wear, and the chair and the end of the bed. And
Mhm.
so what's happening is it's that subconscious, if I put it in the closet, I'll forget about it. And so they're leaving it out so they can see it. And so when the closet doors are off, they no longer have that unconscious fear, and they're way more likely to actually hang the clothes and put them away. But if you're not struggling with that, then absolutely, I wouldn't recommend doing that. But if you are subconsciously leaving things out, that's something that can help you.
Very nice, very nice. Well, if it works, it works. I love the idea of not having a door. But to me, with the way I am, I knew that that would stress me out. But it's because maybe I'm more of a bee than I am of a butterfly. I don't know, maybe more of a butterfly than I am a bee. Okay, so Camila has a question for you. And she said, Cassandra, what do you suggest I do to organize my son's Legos? Oh, that is a difficult task there. They are very many. Like some are built projects and some are loose pieces. I have them in clear boxes, but there are so many now. So what do you suggest?
Lego's really hard because as parents, we want to organize it like color coded or have it in a really detailed way, but that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work for children. So we have to
Mm-hmm.
organize for children like we are children. And so
Okay.
something I recommend, you can get it from Amazon. It's very inexpensive. It's an actual big, huge mat that pulls tight to hold all of your Legos. So the kids can spread it out and play and build and then pull the drawstring to have it all tidied up. And for the built things, a bookcase, the top of the dresser, have display space where you can display the built things, and it will fill them with so much pride. But absolutely, having that bag, that drawstring bag for the loose pieces is key. And then all of those, the manuals the instruction manuals, I keep mine in a bin just like this, just called Lego.
And that is great. So you have it in this bin, but is that do you have every single toy instruction, or what is it that you put
I
into
keep
that bin?
the I keep the Lego instructions because if it breaks or if they want to take it apart, I keep the Lego instructions, and then I keep all the Lego in one big sack with a drawstring, all the loose Lego, so it can spread out big for little visual kids to sit and play. But cleanup is literally just pulling the strings, and then I keep that bag, of course, in a bin. I'm a ladybug though. You can hang yours on a hook, you can set it in the corner. But I do love that drawstring bag. It's a Lego organizer. It's under $10 to purchase,
Where
and
is it? Where do you get that? And what's it called? Lego organizer?
it's like the drawstring bag for Lego. You'll find it if you Google it. You'll find it, and they have it on Amazon.
Yeah, because my grandchildren are at that age where they all want Legos now. And so I remember when our kids had Legos, and I don't know if things have changed, but every Lego had its own purpose. So how do you to me, putting all those Legos in one bag would kind of like, okay, well, which Lego goes with this project and which Lego goes with, or do they all intertwine
That's
with
the
one
thing.
another?
The Lego that she's talking about are the leftover pieces from the project. So you get a box, right? You get a box and it has the kit inside. But once that kit is built, there's still leftover pieces. Or you can just buy Lego as like the little pieces. You could be a master builder, they call it. And that's what parents really struggle with is what do I do with all the pieces, the loose pieces of Lego now that the things have been built? And so that drawstring bag is perfect for that. Also, if you just have it in a bin, what do kids do? They dump it out. and then you have Legos all over the floor. This bag stops that from happening. It is still spread on the floor so they can see everything, but it's contained in like a big carpet basically until you pull the drawstrings and then everything gets organized.
I love it. I love it. That's great. Now Camilla says that she puts hers in a manual. So what would that be? Would she be a B?
Like she puts hers in a binder, you mean? Like
Yeah, she puts her instructions in a binder. I think that's what she meant.
Yeah, so that's a detailed organizer, which is probably why she's struggling to organize her son's Lego, because her brain is like, I'm going to create all these small containers, but children don't think like that. They don't think in small categories. So he's just mixing them up and he's not going to put them away in that detailed way. She needs to embrace a big macro bin or bag for all the Lego to go in, because you have to organize for children like you're a child.
So she replied, she says, love the drawstring bag. My son works on his desk so it may not work for him, but I like that idea. So what if somebody's working on a desk? Can you just put the bag over the desk?
Absolutely, you could, or you could get a bin that's shallower for him, right? So instead of a high, tall bin, getting a long, shallow bin. So again, he can pick it up. He can easily sort and see without spreading the mess all over, and then put the lid on. For my daughter, Abby, who loves Lego, we have those really narrow bins and we roll them under her bed and roll them out when she wants to build.
Yes, I love those under the bed, those, and you know what? And I am partial to clear. I didn't realize that those are the things. And do you find that people gravitate eventually, like with you eventually gravitated to what you loved? Do you have people that come to you that haven't gravitated? They don't know what they want. They just know that they want it out of the way.
I think everybody, usually if I want to know what someone's style is, I say, tell me what's working for you. Show me something that's working for you. Maybe it's their planner, maybe it's the fridge, maybe it's one drawer. And as soon as I see that, I can immediately tell what style they are.
That's amazing. Well, good job. Good job and reading and understanding, because there are people who interpret things, like, I don't know if you're familiar with people, and I've heard about this and I've seen it happen, where there's somebody that gets up at a church and starts speaking in tongues and everybody's going, what? But then someone gets up and says, I understood it. They'll get up and say, hey, this is what they said. And they have the gift of interpretation. And you have been able to develop that gift too. You have this gift of interpretation to be able to see somebody and say, okay, this is how I'm going to help you. But do you have to first get them to accept that this is who they are? Or do they get into denial, saying, oh, no, I'm this or I'm that? How do you deal with somebody that is unaware of what their style is?
Well, it's definitely a scale, right? You can't put everyone into a box. So like yourself, you may be a bee with some butterfly tendencies, and that's okay. It's just a tool for your toolbox. I don't want to put you in a box. I just want to give you another tool for your life toolbox. And whether you use it in every room in your house or just with that one area you're struggling, if it's helpful, that's all that matters.
What about people that are, do you find that the way that people organize or declutter or have clutter in their home is similar to the other part of their life? Maybe it's their professional life or their personal life, or, do you find that they're about the same?
I do find that some people organize differently at home that they do in work because the situation requires it. Somebody who has to be detailed in their work doesn't necessarily mean that they're a detailed person, but they've adapted. And someone who's a really detailed person but has a lot of small children and a busy household, they're going to default to a more macro solution, even though that's not their personality.
Well, I tell you what, this is great. I want to encourage all of you to check out Cassandra Aarsen, especially her new show that's coming on television soon. It's in June, right?
It's coming in June. Yes, It's called Hot Mess House. And it's going to be just such an inspiring show with real families real amounts of clutter, and they're doing real transformations.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I wish you lots of luck with that. And I want to remind you the Declutter Challenge book, we're giving that one away today. So reach out to me. Let me know that you want this book. You know what to do. And please remember, it's to share and like and follow us so that we can continue to grow, so that we can continue to grow within. So thank you so much. And thank you, Cassandra, for the gift of your time today and your wisdom and knowledge. So thank you so much for that. Let me say goodbye right now to our Facebook friends, and hopefully we'll, and YouTube as well. So please like and make a comment if you have any questions for the future. So we'll see you soon.